I don't share my story to horrify people and to draw on their emotions. I share it because I hope it gives you courage to tell your story, because your story will heal you. But you've got to tell it in an empowering way. You can't get stuck in the prepositional phrases and the parentheses of the horrification that you've experienced. You've got to get in that story and look for the strengths and look for the blessings and look for the light and look for the lessons. Well, Iyanla, you must have lost your mind. What is the blessing in a little girl having the skin beat off her back? The blessing is that as a grown woman, I know that I'm more than a body. I am so much more than a body. And it also taught me, I didn't know then, about the regenerative power of life. I got skin on my back now, and if you looked at it, you would probably never even know it was missing. If we would think about our exes like that. Imagine how much happier we would be. But oh no, we stay stuck in the crazy experience and the harshness of the story. And the thing is that we're not immune. Life happens every day, and it's going to continue to happen. And it happens in a way for us to grow ourselves up through the lessons and the experiences. Some of us want to stay little kids, just eating popcorn and having somebody else fold our underwear. That had no gender specifications whatsoever. We've got to grow ourselves up through these difficult experiences. And some of us think that because we had a hard childhood, we should have a happy adulthood. Or because we had an easy childhood, that we should suffer as adults. Let me tell you, suffering is not spiritually attractive. And it's hard on you. It gives you wrinkles. It does, it gives you wrinkles. I was a professional sufferer. I had a suffering outfit. I had a suffering hairdo. I had a suffering face. I had a suffering voice. Nothing. Until I discovered, for me, the true meaning of suffering is the voluntary participation in an event, circumstance, activity, or situation. The voluntary participation in an event, circumstance, situation, or experience which you believe you are powerless to do anything about, so you stay in it. That to me is suffering. When we voluntarily participate in things that we know are causing us harm because we believe we're powerless to do anything about it, that's suffering. That and golf. Or the cruise ship. That's suffering. Everything else is what we make up because we have a gift for fiction. We have a gift for fiction because we're crazy. We always think somebody's doing something. Ain't nobody doing nothing to you. People are in their own insanity. They really are not thinking about you. If you get hurt or harmed or by their dysfunction, it's not because they was out to get you. It's just because they're crazy. They can't help it. Most people, human beings, standing in their humanness, not in their divinity, are totally out of their minds. Did you know that? Think about the last time you was crazy. I can see that eyebrow go up. Or some of the crazy things that we've done. And one of the craziest things that we do is believing that we're out here alone, that we're suffering alone, that we're on our own, that we're not only separate from God, but separate from each other. So that what we think about each other, say about each other, do to one another doesn't really matter. That is crazy. My dear friend Greg Braden, you know who Greg Braden is? He wrote Between Two Worlds. Greg tells this incredible story and shows this incredible video about these two premature twins that were born to a very young mother. And one twin was pretty viable, maybe 5 pounds, and the other one was very unviable, maybe 3 pounds. And so they put the viable baby in a regular nursery and just monitored her. And they put the unviable one, or the one they thought was unviable, in the preemie nursery. And she was all hooked to tubes. You know how they look when they're little like that. Oh my God, it's just amazing to me. And after about 2 weeks, she wasn't gaining weight, and she wasn't just showing any signs of viability. And the doctors encouraged this very young mother to take her off all the life support and see if she would survive, as opposed to keeping the child alive by artificial means. This is a true story. And the nurse overheard that, one of the nurses in the NICU, the preemie neonatal ward, she heard that. And so she said, well, if they're gonna take the child off, let's do something with the child. So she breached all protocol, unhooked all of the baby's things, and took the baby over to the nursery where her viable sister was. Put her in the bassinet with her viable sister. And what the viable sister did was lift her arm and put it on top of her premature sister. She knew. They had spent time in the womb together. They shared a heartbeat and a breath together. And the same is true of us. Both of those babies survived and are doing very well today at 14 years old. It's what's in here. It's what's in our hearts. It's what we can feel and what we can see and what we can hold on to with the love and the joy, you know? My brother, he was my big brother. He was my older brother. He was my hero. He had chronic asthma. Really, I think it was just the dysfunction of our family, but you know, hey, they diagnosed it as asthma and he couldn't breathe, so who am I? But every time he had an asthma attack, I could feel it in my body. I could feel it, you know? And as soon as he turned 16 and ran away from home, he stopped having asthma. Who knew? And I also had an older sister. She was actually my cousin, but when we went to live with my aunt, she was raised with me like a sister, because sisters don't just mean blood. Sisters mean heart. Sisters mean connections. Sisters mean soul to soul. And the same thing with brothers. She taught me everything I knew about being a woman, because she was the big sister. So she used to have to comb my hair on Sunday night while we were watching Ed Sullivan, you know, prepare it for the week. And she taught me how to wash my panties out in the sink at night. And she taught me all that I learned about being particularly a woman of color and a woman of Yoruba descent. She taught me about my culture, about my ancestors. She taught me about my dress, about my clothes. She taught me how to wrap a lapa, which is a skirt that Nigerian women wear. When you're single, it's open on the left side, and when you're married, it opens on the right. And she taught me how to wrap my gele, which is the head wrap dress that Nigerian women wear. And if I'm married, although my skirt opens on the right, my lapa drapes to the left. And if I'm single, although my skirt opens on the left, my gele opens, hangs to the right. She taught me all of that. She took me to Mr. Jack's shoe store and bought me my first pair of stockings. Stockings. Did I mention stockings? This is pre-pantyhose. Stockings. The kind that needed a garter belt. Remember them? But we were poor, so we didn't have garter belts. So what we used to have to do was pull them up, and you roll, and you twist and twist and twist, and you get a little knot, and you tuck the knot under, and that was supposed to keep them up. But I forgot, and I would tie my knots on the inside. So as I was walking, they would rub together, and the stockings would fall down. And she'd have to snatch me over into a corner and pull my dress up and put my stockings on, because they'd be hanging over my shoes. She taught me that. And she also took me to Woolworth to buy my first training bra. Did you know they don't make them anymore? Who knew? Who knew they didn't make training bras? Now they have one size fits all. Of what? Certainly not some of us, you know. Yeah, she took me to buy my first training bra, and I had a white one and a pink one and a blue one, and it had a bow here. Yeah, I remember that. And she also took me to get my first eyeliner on the Maybelline eyeliner pencil. They used to come 2 on a card. Do you remember that? And don't let me be the only old person in here, okay? They came 2 on a card, remember? She'd take one and she'd give me the other one. And she taught me how to put it on. You had to roll your eye like that and pull it up. I don't know why you had to kind of pull it up. I guess it had to be taut so you could get the line straight. I never quite got that, and I used to end up looking like Rocky J. Squirrel. The line would be all down underneath it. It didn't matter. It was okay. She fixed it for me. And she also taught me how to polish my nails. Do you know how to polish your nails properly? One up the middle and then one left and one right. You do that twice and then you put the clear on it. She taught me that, you know. Yeah, she taught me everything I know about being a woman. And then, you know, she was like about 7 years older than me. And then, you know, when we got grown and we had our kids and stuff, she still wanted to be the boss of me. You know, and she used to like tell me what to do and stuff. And I didn't like that. And then she, you know, she would yell at me too and embarrass me in public. I was a grown woman. I had children, ex-husbands. She couldn't be my big sister like that. So I fixed her. I stopped speaking to her. Because we were taught you didn't get to talk back to the older ones, you know? If they took care of you, you didn't get to talk back to them. And I forgot that I was grown too, so I just stopped speaking to her. I did, and I didn't speak to her for 3 years. I didn't let her know I wasn't speaking to her though. I didn't tell her that, you know? She must not have been speaking to me either, because she didn't call me. And now that I think about it, I wonder who stopped calling first. But then one day I was in my office and I got a phone call and they said to me that my sister was dead. Yeah. And so I went back to Brooklyn where we grew up, and it was true. She had been sick for 2 years. Ovarian cancer. And nobody called me and told me. But you know, in African culture, they teach us that the way you honor people and honor their life is how you live what they taught you. That's how you honor someone. And so I knew how funny she was. She was crazy. I mean, she was funny. And so I went to the funeral home and I said, I want to dress my sister, because I don't think she would like strangers looking at her naked. And the funeral director said, okay. So I bathed her the way she used to bathe me when I was little. And I braided her hair the way she used to braid my hair. 4 big braids going back. And I wrapped her lapa to the right because she was a married lady. And I wrapped her gele to the left because she was a married lady. And I got me a Maybelline eyeliner. And I pulled that eye up and I made her a straight line. Put a little blue on the eyelid. She loved blue eyeshadow. Then I went to the local drugstore and got some Jean Naté, because my sister loved Jean Naté. She could drink it. Oh! And I put it behind her ears and behind her knees and on her wrists. And I put a little bottle in there with her because I didn't know where she was going for sure. And I got her a little hanky, because she taught me a lady never goes anywhere without car fare. And I tied some coins in a hanky, and I stuck that down in there with her too, because I didn't know where she was going. And I wanted to make sure that when she got there, whoever she met knew that her people didn't send her out with nothing. And I did her nails, one up the middle, one left, one right. I didn't do 2 coats though, I just did one. And I shared with her everything that she had taught me. And you know what I realized? It all fades in God. You don't remember why you're mad or why you're upset or why you're angry or why you withheld your love for so long. And I would give anything today to be able to pick up the phone and call my sister, because I needed her and she needed me. And we forgot that in our human craziness and missed precious moments together. Don't do that. Forget why you're mad, because it all fades in God. Forget why you're upset or what they did or didn't do. Just tell the truth. You get on my nerves because you're crazy. But I need you. And you need me. And even that for me was a lesson that God would just have me learn about not withholding my love, speaking my truth. I've learned that in the growing up of myself, I've got to be willing to upset somebody. There's another word I want to use, but since we're in church, I can't do it today. I'll send it to you on my blog. You've got to be willing to upset people and disappoint people if it means that you get to stand authentically. Because it's our inauthentic selves that destroy our relationships. It's our inauthentic selves trying to be everything to everybody and take care of everyone and doing so much for other people that we don't want to do. I am tired of taking you shopping. Take yourself shopping or stop eating. Lose a few pounds. Just leave me alone. But instead we go along and we do these things, and we do it with resentment, and we do it, with back conversation that creates pollution in our relationships. We have to grow ourselves up from that and love people enough to say, you know what, I love you, and I don't have time to run errands with you again this week. You're gonna have to get that handled. Or I love you, and I don't like that you always call me when you're in crisis. Be authentic. Had I done that, I would have been able to spend the last 3 years with my sister before she left her body. And it all fades in God anyway. Don't withhold your love. It's a lesson. Somebody needs you and you need them.